everyone, I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. I'm here with you today to continue the session which I started yesterday. So, if you could remember the session we discussed yesterday, that would be of good use. It's because I want to know how much you are able to grasp from the topic we are discussing. So, the concept we have chosen or we have picked up for campus placements is essentially understanding reading comprehension. As you all know, this reading comprehension is a bit challenging. It's though not completely challenging, but it is sometimes kind of like it confuses the reader or the one who is taking up the task. So that is the reason we have come up with this topic, so that this will be of good help, so that you can handle the topic with great ease and comfort. Let's get started. So what have been we've been discussing about the concepts, right? Like we've been discussing the important elements, we've been discussing the important principles or the things you need to focus in the very first phase of our learning, that is like learning about reading comprehension. So we've been discussing all these aspects in detail. So for today's class or for today's session, we are going to look at some strategies or tips or some methods you can focus when or you can apply for doing and learning or comprehending reading passages, right? So now, like if you can remember, we thought that looking at these issues, that is like that is like what are the components actually come or they are very much integral in reading comprehension. If you could remember all that, then obviously you can connect very well, right? No, now by now you might have understood all the strategies, right? So all the strategies of listening, all the strategies of speaking skills, like for the past few days we've been discussing all that, right? So for this particular session, I want you to be remembered of the types of reading skills or the types of reading techniques or methods you can use it when you have picked up a text, and how you're going to analyze it. See, my dear students and my dear viewers, you are not only using these methods and strategies for applying or for conducting or for appearing for some competitive exam, but also whenever you have to analyze the text, especially when there are larger texts which so much of information is dumped. So in that particular case, you can apply all that. But anyway, whether or not you are taking up a small, very simple text or a complicated text, or any competitive exam, whatever it is, but the procedure remains the same. So this is the it is not particular methodology, but then this is the way you have to approach. Right now, yesterday we looked at some types of reading, like skimming, scanning, and type of intensive reading, active reading, speed reading. So how you can improve your speed reading with that means trying to improve your pace with the content that is given to you, right? So depending upon the content you can pick all your selective methods or some methods which are very easier for you. So now today's session we will be looking at some techniques for good comprehension. So some techniques for good comprehension. So part of that, let me talk to you about this prediction. What do you mean by prediction? We say we predict weather, right? We predict weather. What kind of weather? We predict a very cool kind of soothing weather, right? So the weather is, so we predicted rainfall yesterday, so it happened. So what do we do at we predicting or anticipating, right? We are looking for, we foresee the things, right, beforehand. In the same way, in the reading comprehension, when you're analyzing the text, you're going to predict its meaning. You're going to predict its connection, logical connection. You're going to predict some kind of output or the results that you can really deduce from the text. So even here you can apply this prediction, but you're not predicting other than what is there in the text, right? So now, before I tell you what is this prediction and how you can really apply this particular technique for this comprehension text, much before that, let me tell you the uses of it. My dear viewers, I tell you, this prediction will help you allow to use information which is given in the text, literally reading text or literary text, and you can use your background information with the content that is given. So anywhere you go, anywhere, whatever you do, you have to do one thing. This background knowledge or the schema that already exists, okay, that which exists before you can really read the text, that is very great indeed. So in the sense, great in nature, and it will be great in help too. Why? Because you can activate the existing background knowledge with the information that you are going to look at. So that is always useful. You cannot simply take from the text whatever is given, right? So you have to understand, you have to follow, and you have to club the information which you read from the text, and you can mix it well with your prior knowledge. That's what we say, prior knowledge could be of your experiences, different memorable experiences, and the existing knowledge perhaps you have, like language related and linguistics related language which you already have, and then you can use it for your like the actual time. That means like the exact time when you are analyzing any particular literary text. So if you complicate the procedure, then obviously it looks very intricate, and it looks very kind of complex. So what I would say is, first, make sure that you are going to have an excellent comprehension of the text, and you prepare your mind such that if any complicated text or any kind of like different very complex logical text is given to you, you won't get shocked, and you get very comfortable, and when you, especially when you are analyzing the text. So that is the purpose, or that is the use, that is the benefit, that is the like a great advantage when you use these techniques or method. So prediction certainly will help you or will assist you in deriving or deducing the meaning from the given content or given text. So what does it do? It allows viewers or the readers to use information given from the text. Like, how do you predict? You predict only from the content, right? So other than the content, you have prior knowledge. Now, these are two important sets or categories, or like two components of materials you have, right? Your prior knowledge, that is your background knowledge, and that comprises of your experiences, and that comprises of your exposure, that comprises of your linguistic ability, that comprises of your already vocabulary knowledge, and all will fall under one category. And the second component will be of the content that which is there in the text, or which is there in your hand. So you take two and you try to understand the text by combining or by using these two sets of materials when you are analyzing the text. So from the content, now with the prior knowledge you have already which you have already, and the existing content. So the content means, so what does it have? Like, it has all kind of like titles, right? If you take any particular textbook, you have a title, right, for that particular literary text. So you have a title there, and could be a heading or whatever you name it, or pictures that are designed very much provided given in the content, and the diagrams or like picture or diagrams, whatever. So they will help you predict or anticipate what will happen with the text or in the text. So that is how you are going to activate your existing knowledge with the content that you're going to set, right? So it allows the readers or the target readers to use information from the text, such as all the titles, such as titles and all that, so that you can understand. And now with this step, do you think that the comprehension of the text is already done, or has been received by the reader? No, it's not at all over. So you start with this step, that is using your prior knowledge with the existing information. Now, what else will you do? You make predictions, and you kind of, that students envision, right? So you will be predicting what will be the second round of story, or the latter part of the story will happen, will take place here in the place, or these are the events that might take place. So what's happening is that, like, you are visualizing, okay, you anticipate or you imagine the content prior, much before you read the storyline. So what you're doing is you're predicting there. So this is all about this technique of prediction. So based on all these steps, definitely you can come closer to, there is one more method that I want to tell you, is like that's all about inference or inferring the text, or this is the method, right? You are doing prediction, which will ultimately lead to inferences. That means, what do you infer? What do you get? What do you deduce? What do you conclude? So the conclusion you derive from the text is nothing but the inferences. And what is this inference? We can discuss that in the latter part of the session. So now I hope you understand this method of prediction, right? So with prediction, you can understand the content of the text, or you can comprehend well from of whatever is the literary text that is much before you. Right. So this involves thinking ahead. So you are reading there, and much before you are reading, what's happening is simultaneously prediction is happening. So you're predicting and you're reading. So all these will go simultaneously, okay, parallel. So that is how this technique will help you. So you might ask me, what happens if you don't predict? So what happens? It's so simple. You just understand the content given, and you won't be able to use your prior knowledge. And as a result, you do only structural analysis, and you end up in, narrowing down. It's like you end up in like narrowed perspective. Right? You don't use it, and you don't use your mind, and you think that this is only meaning that has come up from the text. So you cannot do that, my dear listeners. So you cannot do that. Definitely, this will be of great help if you can use it. Right. Next, inferencing. What is this inferencing? That's what we've been discussing a while ago. Right? Now, it deals with what the author means by what it is said. What inference is another technique. Prediction, just like prediction, inference is also another technique. So what is this inferencing? By using this inferencing technique, what help you get it, or what good do you get out of that? So the good you get out of that is like you're able to come or approach very near to the conclusion or the meaning of the text or the sense of the text. So what does it do? It deals, inferencing exclusively deals what the author means by what he is said. That means he doesn't directly come and tell you this is the sense of the text or this is the conclusion that I'm trying to derive. See, many open-ended tests are for the readers to understand, or for the target readers to understand. You take this is like postmodernism. text. Okay, all postmodern writers, modernists, they write on the existing current situations, about their respective fields, where like you don't no more get the meaning, very much peripheral meaning from the text given. So what you're doing is like you are trying to deduce the meaning, and this is what this postmodern text all about. Like they do not come up with pure sense of the text or conclusion. That is for you. That is what like Derrida's deconstruction also talks about. Like you are going to construct the meaning of the text, and the reader is going to be the one who is going to come up with the sense of the text. That means like you shape the meaning, and you shape your thinking, and you come out of come out with your sense of it. Like there is no such like a borderline that this is a sense of the text that the writer is dealing with. No more. It's not about that, but it is all about you are constructing the meaning of the text with the help of existing material use or existing help that you take from the text, right? So inferencing, my dear students, inferencing helps you to understand the text. So what has been directly stated by the writer of the text. So it's not given directly, it's not given in a line. Even if you find, you are wasting your time. Even if you're going to browse in the text, no, that the meaning won't be there, and it is hidden. It's not explicit at all. It is all implied, and it has a explicit a way of understanding the text, right? So that's one thing. Next, it deals with what the author means by what is said. Next, the reader must simply read between the lines. So what do you mean by reading between the lines? So reading between the lines means it's like you are trying to get the meaning what has not been said by the author. So you are trying to dig deeper sense of it. You are going little deeper and understand the text that is given in the literary piece. So that is like you try to get which is not given in the text. So if it's not given in the text, you are going to or is like frame the sense of the text. But because I said you are going to shape the meaning of the text, it doesn't mean that you can interpret whatever you like. No, that's wrong. You are not going to do that. You have to understand that you, with the existing information you have and the prior knowledge and proper coherent logical connections should be made. So that is important part of it. So that is what it means inferencing. Next, so examples could be, see, these references are where do you make these inferences? So which part of the text will help you make these inferences? The important part of the text that will help you understand the meaning of the text is more than one. So you can find that in the main idea of the text, okay, in supporting details, sequences, cause and effect relationships. So you have to if you have to construct the meaning of the text, or if you have to make inferences, you should know what's the main idea given in the text. And you should know what are some supporting details. You should be able to figure out what are the supporting details. Here, whenever that is what you have to understand. Like you have to know about this essay writing. Just like when you know about this essay writing, you'll know head and tail, right? The head and tail of that particular essay. What is introduction, what is the body given there, and what's the conclusion. And there you have to figure out main idea, and you have to figure out supporting details. You have to come up with conclusions. So if you understand this main idea, what exactly is that, then you'll be able to apply the same principles in the text given, even when you are interpreting this reading text. So that is the sense of it. So even so, what you are trying to do is you are going to this main idea. Okay, what is the main idea stated in the text. So it could be in the beginning, that could be in the introduction, could be just below the introduction, or can be found in the main body. But usually it happens, you can get that, it's like, in the beginning itself, just before, after the introduction, you can go a little lower, a little after that, you can find out this main idea. And also you can sketch out these supporting details. So with supporting details, you can understand the text. And then sequences, cause and effect relationships. So what are some sequences that you can really find out? And then cause and effect relationships. If you know this must be the cause, and due to that this happened. So, and this is the method that used, and this is the result, and these are the methodologies used, and these are the consequences. So you have to try and see what is the cause and effect given or stated in that, and relationships related to that. So if you can go to all these things, you can definitely come out with a great comprehension, and you can really very much easily find out the answers. So that's what, like, reader response theory also says, that like the reader is going to construct the meaning within text. It is not the author that states the sense of the text, but it is going to be the reader who constructs the meaning. So, and all these Derrida's deconstructions and reader response theory, Richards, so all of them speak the same. So you have to understand all that. Next, so for some examples that I have for you, so that you can understand this inferencing, or the use of this inference technique when you are applying, or when you are using to comprehend the text. Number one, you can say, what is the theme? The theme is not stated very much in the text. Or what effect does this character or event have on the story? So what effect does it? Does he say? The writer says, no, he doesn't say that. But you are going to infer further meaning. So that is what I mean to say, inferring from the given text. Now, how do you think the story will end? How do you think the story will end? So you are going to make some inferences. So number one, what have you done so far? You predicted, and now you inferred. Now, later on, you can focus on all these things. Main idea, like we said, like author's tone. Okay, you are focusing on the main idea, main sense of the text, and then moving on to the author's tone in the text, or author's attitude. Now, I have a list of, words for you to understand different tones or mood of the text. So maybe in the later slide, I'll be discussing that. So what you have to focus is, like, you have to focus on the main idea, and then author's tone and attitude. Next, inference, assumptions, and suggestions. So you have to focus on assumptions, like more or less it is closely related to this inference, right? Or suggestions. What is a suggestion offered in the text? And then you will be focusing on the context and hidden meaning. So the context of the text is very important. When you read this reader response theory, that is what you understand. You have to understand the context from where the text might have been born. Okay, so maybe it's born out of some context. That's very well there during the time of the writer. You have to understand the context. In social context, psychological context, or economic context there, historical context there, linguistic context there. So, environmental context. So you have to understand all these different contexts, and definitely you can come out of this the kind of like the confusion, and you can sort it out. So this will be very useful if you can use this tip or strategy. And then you have to also think about or focus about the title of the article. So judge the title. This will give you several clues, I tell you, my dear readers and my dear listeners. If you can understand the title, definitely you can understand the sense of the text. But you are not going to conclude the text just after understanding the title. But what you are going to do is, you have that preparation or the comprehension which already on your mind, and then you have to later on you have to sit and collect the information that which you derive, and then finally come up with this. So that is a sense of it. So title of the article is important, to be focused, and also you have to judge the title. Now, just like I've told you, I've mentioned like the tone or different tones which you can really focus, that's been given by the author. It is like tone of absurdity, like absurd tone, which is not very clear, and it's not very clear, and it is very vague sort of, okay, and uncertainty. So this is also called, okay, or the tone of accusatory, okay, where, kind of like is the author using this tone, accusatory tone, or is it like admiring tone, like is the text talking about admiring of something in the text, or tone of admiration. So we have to see all this ambivalence, whether this is ambivalent or not. Okay, amused, angry, apathetic. So apologetic, whether it is apologetic or like appreciative or arrogant or assertive or struck, benevolent, bitter, callous, candid, cautionary, chatty, or colloquial. This is also very important. Generally, the text, will be colloquial or kind of absurd, and sometimes kind of bleak mood is carried on, and the tone is also like that. And sometimes cautionary, the text could be cautionary. He cautions, the writer cautions, okay. And sometimes, most of the time, it is very amusing, and all these sorts of tones or mood you have to find out, and you have to interpret the text accordingly. Right? Next, the role of writing vocabulary. You have to understand writing vocabulary is also very important. It is very fundamental, as it talks about without, like what are the words that are used in the text. So if you can understand the words that are used in the text, definitely you can interpret. Okay. Next, read the passage carefully. This is very important. When you talk about it. When you read the passage carefully, you will understand all minute details of the text, where you can skim, or you can scan, or you can use any type of techniques. Okay. Next, after you do this, then where you go to the question or go to the passage where the question has come up. Okay. So you can do all that. And and then if you start going to the source of the text, and if you go to the origin of the text, you can very well understand through this thorough analysis, right? And let's discuss useful strategies, some useful strategies. Now, what you have to do is, you have to understand the main idea of the passage and gather some cues. This has been well mentioned in our session today. Next, inferring. Even this is also inferring the meaning, and then identify repetitive words. This is another clue. What are some repetitive words, ideas, and phrases? When you read that, definitely you can make out. So you will get so many hints there, and something that's been repeated again. That's been repeated throughout the text. So definitely you get a clue. Next, then find out from where this idea has been originated, where this idea is hails from. So this is also the origin, the source is very important. And also another important clues which you can, or hints you can get, are like you can read the first and second line, first and last line. Then definitely you can understand a very important message, because usually in the first line and the last line, you can understand the sense of it, because the author sometimes starts with talking about his just whatever he's conveying in the very first line, and sometimes he concludes that in the last paragraph. So first line and last line, you have to focus on both these paragraphs, so that you will get many hints, so you can that will assist you in your comprehension. Next, and use all this skimming and scanning reading techniques, so you know all these methods. Now you have to follow some things. What are they? You have to read the passage, okay, slowly, by okay giving your attention to the ideas, okay, and then identify the theme. You identify the theme. Next, you have to read the passage again and again, and do not get discouraged if you don't understand some meanings. Next, read the passage and then find the answer of question given at the end of the passage. And also what you can do is you can read the questions several times, okay, you can read the question several times, and directly you can find out the answer. Right, know the tense also. You have to understand the tone of the passage, tense of the passage also, which tense, so you understand the times, you understand the times during which the text or when the text was written. Next, write the answer in your words. If you have time, you can really jot down some, and then see, and also make sure that you report the answer by using the third person. You say, instead of using personal, I or he, like that, you can say the writer says that, okay, so that's more. And then you don't add any extra information which is not in the text. That is very dangerous. So your opinion is not important, your view is not important. Next, revise your answers. Once again, cross check, and then try to read more precisely, okay, accurately, and then do a close reading of the text. Also, you try to find out some important events and concepts. So what are some important, even these will be different, these will be very good clues, right? And also try to understand the concepts given in the content area. Next, you try to finish assignments and assessments given in them, and then definitely you read it for pleasure, my dear students. So see, overnight you cannot attain this mastery over reading comprehension. So what you have to do is you have to keep reading the text. Take very small text, simple text, very 10 pages. Start with reading 10 pages, 20 pages text. Read it for pleasure, and you will improve a lot. When you read it, you will improve your reading ability. Now, focus and reading comprehension focuses on these strategies, especially building background knowledge. You have to build a background knowledge, okay, and existing knowledge. Next, teaching vocabulary explicitly. So what are these? Teaching vocabulary explicitly and checking comprehension frequently. So you have to understand all this focus on background knowledge, teaching vocabulary that's used, and then comprehension, proper comprehension. Okay, so now how do you build up your background knowledge? How you can teach students, or how as learners, how you can focus on building a background knowledge is like you have to draw students, or like if you are the target readers, you have to start focusing on your existing knowledge. That is activate your schemata, which is very important, right? Next, you have to can go on tour. If you are a teacher, you can go on tour and you can understand it. Use a picture walk to teach them. Okay, and you also can, as readers, you can use different text, picture text, and you can understand. Okay, these will be used as scaffolding devices. That means like these will be helpful to you. These will help you in understanding that, right? So focus on key vocabulary, my dear learners. You have to focus on very important words. Okay, also try to focus on signaling words, signal and directional words. They will direct you. They will, give some signals. You have to look for those signposts also. And then you have to engage yourself with the vocabulary used. And sometimes you try to participate in the discussions where you can use new words and activate activities, some new tasks can be used, or if your teacher is designing new tasks and reading tasks, definitely you take part in it, because you will learn a lot. Ample vocabulary can be learned, right? And now you have to also like check your comprehension frequently, like use some comprehension informal, like semi-formal or informal comprehension checks. Next, and also you can use like student friendly questions, okay? And also you can also ask questions among yourself, highly use some graphic organizers, and like which all will help power up your vocabulary, right? And now let me tell you the distinction between, or some differences between, good readers and bad readers. Like now let me focus on this good readers. Like what do they do? They draw on background knowledge, they activate their schemata, they try to bring out their prior knowledge, and then they predict, they visualize before. Okay, they visualize, they foresee it before, they predict it before, they see it before, and they recognize, okay, they see the complexity, they see some kind of twist that's already given, they see some confusion that's given there. So they try to overcome all that. Next, recognize a text structure, organization as a read. So do that, all right? You understand the structure of it, organization of it, right? Next, monitor your reading strategy, and you can use the strategy according to the requirement, okay? And also, what is your purpose of reading? Are you finding out are you analyzing the text, or you're just understanding it for pleasure? Are you going to do structural analysis, or are you really trying to answer open-ended questions? So whatever is your purpose, try to figure it out. Next, so you can use this think aloud technique. Think aloud, actually, this is like you do all these predictions, creating some images, some making connections. You think aloud there, okay? You try to make all these things with great understanding of the vocabulary widely used, right? So now you have to use this like think aloud strategies, predicting, questioning, visualizing, responding, okay, verifying, summarizing, reflecting, connecting. You do all that. Like you predict, you question, you visualize, you respond, you summarize, reflect, and connect, right? Some reading strategies you can really think about is like that's the same thing. Like you can predict, visualize something, you can connect, okay, you can question, you can clarify, and finally you can evaluate the text. Now what will poor readers do? They will start reading a passage as much as you also do it, but then are not being able to predict. They don't anticipate the updates of the text or the upcoming events of the text, so they fail exclusively. They fail to activate their background knowledge. They don't activate their background knowledge. They don't use their lifetime experiences. Okay, so that is the drawback. And another is they fail to concentrate on decoding words, where they don't try to understand and comprehend the words given there. And also they're unaware of the comprehension, strategies. And also they take a lot of time. They are not fluent readers. They don't apply this technique of speed reading. Hence they often fail to decode the meaning of the passage and forget the sense of the text, and they miss the main idea of the text. So you have to focus on writing vocabulary a lot. So you have to focus on the words that are given, which is very important. So by using all this, you will be able to definitely overcome all that. So what you have to do is you have to understand some reading strategies. So before reading, activate your background knowledge, okay? Right, prediction. During reading, you have to understand the main ideas, supporting details, identify details, cause and effect, compare and contrast. And after reading, what you have to do is you have to summarize. You have to continue. You have to derive inferences and conclusions, and you can do different judgments on text. So by applying all this, definitely you'll be a successful reader who can comprehend the text very effectively. So with all the strategies that have been discussed in the session will be, hope they will be very helpful and they'll be useful to you. Thank you, and hope you do very well. Hope you do excellent. Hope you do very nicely when you try to appear for the exam, or when you take some reading passages for deep comprehension and analysis. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.